Hello everyone, Momma Jo here. Tomorrow is a very special day. Tomorrow is my mother's 82nd birthday. So in honor of her, I am making her very favorite cake of all time, which is upside down pineapple cake. And I'm making it from scratch, pretty much. So the first thing we have to do is we want to turn our oven to 350 degrees. Then I'm using a round silicone pan. I'm trying to think the size of this. It looks like it's about an 8 or 10 inch pan. It's just enough, just the right size if you want to put your pineapple slices like one in the middle and all the way around. And I, of course, since I'm using a silicone, I've got it sprayed really well, and I'm putting a pizza pan underneath of it so that way it gives it some stability while it's baking. So I'm going to set this out of the way. And I'm taking about 3 tablespoons of butter, and I'm going to melt that in the microwave. I'm going to say maybe 20 seconds. I'm going to try 20 seconds. And then I'm going to take that melted butter and I'm going to put it in this bowl, and I'm going to add 1/3 cup. Well, actually, I'm not going to mix those together. I'm going to put the 1/3 cup in here. And I think I'm going to add a little cinnamon to this, because I think cinnamon goes really well with pineapple. So let me add about maybe 1/2 teaspoon to the brown sugar. Okay, and then I'm just going to kind of incorporate the brown sugar and the cinnamon together. I started to get confused. I was going to say add the butter to this, but the melted butter is going to go in the cake pan. You'll see. Okay, just like that. Let me get that butter, see if it's melted. It needs a little bit longer. 20 seconds was not quite enough. So let me do like another 10 seconds. And what you're going to want is you're going to want a can, I think it's a 20-ounce can of pineapple slices. And drain off your juice, but save your juice. Then take your pineapples and take a paper towel and kind of blot each one, because if you don't, your cake could end up being too soggy. You don't want a soggy cake. So that's what I've done with the pineapple slices. I've taken and drained it really well, and then I took a paper towel and blotted each piece. Then I took a jar of maraschino cherries and I drained them, and I actually rinsed them with some spring water, and then I tried to shake out as much of the water that I could, and I took a paper towel to these also. And whatever I don't use, I reserve the juice in the jar. And so whatever I don't use, I'm going to put back in the jar and put it back in the refrigerator. So let's see how the butter's doing. Much better. Okay, we're pretty much melted. This butter is going to go right in the pan. And I'm just going to kind of swirl it around so that the whole bottom of the pan gets covered. Now I'm going to take that cinnamon brown sugar mixture and I'm going to sprinkle that evenly over the entire top of this. It's been a long time since I've made pineapple upside down cake. About the pineapples, get the ones that's in the juice, not the syrup, because the ones in the syrup is going to make everything a little bit too sweet. I'm curious, do you all have a favorite cake? What is your favorite cake? Of course, my mom's is pineapple upside down cake. If I had to pick one cake that I would say is my favorite, it would probably be chocolate cake. Okay, now let's take those pineapples, and you're going to put one in the center, and then you're going to put one to each side of that. See how many we can get to fit. There's one in the center. Looks like I'm going to have 3 pineapples left over. Now there's something else that you could do too. Some people will put one in the center, and then they'll take and cut these in half, and then they will put halves all the way around, and that's pretty too. I'm going to stick to the way my mom initially is used to having it. I'm leaving mine. I prefer to leave mine whole, but that if you want something different, a different look, you could do that. Now I'm going to take those cherries, and I'm going to put one in the center of each pineapple. And then I think I'm going to put some around the little openings. Since I have plenty of cherries here, I think that'll make it look more festive. Let me get a paper towel here. It's a little messy. I want you all to be able to see it. See, I put them around there too. Okay, now we got to work on the batter. The oven is heating. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set you up over to the mixer and bring you back so that you can see me putting everything together. Hey, I brought you all back to show you, to talk about a couple things before we go over here to the mixer. You want to make sure your eggs is at room temperature, and you want your butter to be at room temperature. Not the butter that we melted that goes on the bottom, the butter that's going to be in the cake batter. You want at room temperature. Or be very careful, you don't want to melt it if it's really cold, and you just want to just soften it up very slightly. You don't want it melted. But if you have it room temperature, that's better, okay? So I just wanted to make sure I told you that. And then I'm using cake flour. Cake flour has less gluten, and it will make your cake be more tender, soft, and fluffier. So I'm using 1 2/3 cups of cake flour in this bowl, but we have to add some other ingredients into our dry mix. We need leavening agent. So I'm going to use 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. I'm going to use 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. I'm going to use half a teaspoon of cinnamon. And then I'm going to use 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. Okay, I'm just going to whisk these ingredients together. And what we're going to do is, after we go over here to the mixer and I cream the butter and the sugar together really well and get all my wet ingredients in there, well, except for this. Remember I said save your pineapple juice? I'm taking 2/3 cup of that pineapple juice. Instead of throwing it out, I have some powdered buttermilk here. And according to the directions on here, it says use 2/3 cup of water. And use 2½ tablespoons of the buttermilk blend. I'm just going to take the 2 and 1 tablespoon of buttermilk, and I'm going to mix it into this pineapple juice. Now, if you don't want to do that, you can just do what the directions say and use water. If you don't want to use water, you could use milk. If you do not have this, you can buy buttermilk. If you don't want to use or don't have that, couldn't find that, you can make your own buttermilk by taking water and lemon juice, or you can use water and white distilled vinegar. I'm not sure how much it is, the ratio. I know it's very simple to make, but since I have this on hand, I'm going to use this. So I'm going to go ahead and get that prepared, mixed up here, so that when we're over here at the mixer, all I have to do is go back and forth between the dry and the buttermilk as we're mixing. So to get 2½ tablespoons, I've got a tablespoon here. Looks like this thing has hardened up on me. Okay, I'm going to have to break that up, and when I get it all put together, I explain to you how you do that, because I have to loosen this powder. It's kind of must have gotten some moisture to it, and I'll bring you back over to the mixer. Okay, I think we're ready to move on. I hope so. Anyhow, let's go on with our room temperature butter. Let's see, I have 6. I think I have 6 tablespoons of really soft room temperature butter going in. Then I have, I think it's 2/3. Let me see here. Yep, 2/3 cup of white sugar. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start getting that mixed together. And you just want to cream them together really well. I have those 3 eggs individually cracked in room temperature. That's getting ready to go in. Okay, looks pretty good. I'm going to start adding my eggs one at a time. Going in second egg. third egg. I'm going to scrape down the sides. Okay, go back, turn the mixer back on. And I do have a fourth of a cup of sour cream I want to add to it. And I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and add that sour cream, I think, at this time too. Go ahead and get everything incorporated together. I think the sour cream is going to give it some moisture, keep the cake moist. All right, let's try to get that mixed in. Alright, once everything looks like it's really mixed in well, I'm going to start adding some of this flour. Let me get a bigger scoop. Try not to make a huge mess here. Okay, I'll start off with like 2 big scoops there. And depending on how thin or thick this batter is, I may end up adding a little more cake flour, we'll see. Just depends on the consistency. Okay, this is that pineapple juice that I put that buttermilk powder in. I wasn't real pleased with that powder. For some reason it had, I hadn't used it in a while. It's been sitting up in the cabinet and I probably should have opened it up and look at it. But it kind of had some lumps to it. So I used it, but there were some lumps in it, so I kind of strained it. I don't think it's going to affect the taste of this if the buttermilk, powder didn't do its job, because I'm putting a little bit of sour cream in there too. So I'm going to pour a little bit of this in. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to put some more of this flour in, mixture. Maybe 2 big scoops. Smells wonderful. Okay, I'm gonna have to scrape down the sides. I see some flour on the edges. Oh, it looks like it's thickening up pretty nicely. You can smell that pineapple juice. It's a process. I'm pouring some more of that juice. I think I'm going to go ahead and put in the rest of this flour. See how I can get this in here. Nah, sorry about the noise. Probably should have used my stainless steel bowl. Flour wouldn't stick to the bottom. Yeah, I only have a little bit of juice here. I'm just going to go ahead and pour that in. All right. Whip her up. Okay. Got a little mess here. There we go. Looks like cake batter. It's a very pretty batter. Okay, I'm just scraping one last final time. Make sure everything is incorporated really well. Make sure there's nothing on the bottom. Thinking it may not need anything else. Okay. All right, one more time. I wish you all could see this batter and smell it. All right, just trying to get some of that off the I'm gonna take this over here and bring you over here. All right, this batter is really pretty. I'm gonna just pour it right on top. I'm going to try to scrape out as much as I can, because this just smells wonderful. Like I said, I think using the cake flour it's very airy. It's a very light batter. Okay, I tried to get as much of that out as I could. And I'm just going to kind of shake it a little bit, try to level it out. Okay, get my washer right here, and I'm going to tap it, you know, just in case there's any like air pockets in there. Poopy, look at that. Okay, she's going in the oven. Okay, I'm going to set my timer for 45 minutes. Now, everybody's oven is different. I would check it at 45 minutes, take it out, take a toothpick into the center and pull it out. And if it seems like, you know, it's a little too wet, a little too sticky, if it's not too overly done, too brown, leave it in there for another 5-10 minutes. And I'm going to bring you back because my oven, usually most things I leave in for almost an hour. But with this specific recipe, I'm going to check it at 45. And I'm going to bring you back. Okay, folks. 45 minutes later, I pulled the cake out. I've got it on a cooling rack. I stuck it with a toothpick. It come out clean. I'm going to probably give this about 20 minutes. And I'm going to try to invert it. So let's keep our fingers crossed and see how she turns out when I flip her inside out. We'll be right back. Okay, folks, we're back. I waited about 25 minutes and I flipped this. Let me tell you what I noticed. Before I flipped it, the cake was rounded on the I guess it would top side, which is actually the bottom side when you flip it. And when I flipped it out onto the plate, it did separate here. But I mean, it looks good. I don't like that it's separated, but I've already like tasted a little bit of what, because I already cut it. I think the fact that I used a silicone pan might have been the problem. So I would recommend using an iron skillet or a metal pan because it's going to hold the cake together better. But I'm going to take this over and my mom's going to give you a taste test and Michael's going to give you a taste test. And that's what really matters is the taste. It's still a pretty cake. It still rose, you know, really nice and everything. But I think the silicone cake pan might not be the way to go. Again, I would use an iron skillet or use a metal pan for if you decide to try this. We'll be right back. Okay, folks, we are back. This is my mama. And I made this cake for her because this is her all-time favorite cake, pineapple upside down cake. Mom, you want to give it a taste try?
All right.
Now you just got the cake part. You didn't get any of the pineapple.
Because I feel like she's the type of woman, from what I know from you, who would be demanding that volume of pecans in each room. Just like her.
That would be good.
Do you taste the pineapple?
Yeah.
There's pineapple juice in the cake batter too.
Wow.
And I added something that most people don't usually add. I added some cinnamon.
There's a big difference.
And there's sour cream.
Mm-hmm. Oh, really good, Joanne. I love it.
Well, I love you. Happy birthday, Mama.
Thank you.
Okay, folks, I'm going to get Michael's opinion. We'll be right back.